It's so good to be with you all today. And what I'm going to share with you comes from years of experience as a leader of city movements, where I served in Muncie, Indiana, for instance, as the leader of the Christian Ministries of Delaware County, a coalition of 200 churches that serve together to reach the city with the good news of Jesus Christ. And we'll tell you a little bit about some of those experiences that I've had along the way. But I also want to say that what I'm going to share is based on solid research. It's not simply academic, although that research was certainly academic. As I studied for my doctorate, I was with Ray Bakke, studying in cities around the world with him for about 8 years. And so the research is not merely academic, but it's also practical, as I would meet with practitioners and talk to them about the things that they were doing in their cities and communities. I hope to share some of those stories as well. Today is an overview, and each portion that's shared has additional depth that you'll be able to go into. And I also want to say this. As a pastor, you are involved and engaged in a high and holy calling as you seek to serve not only the church but your city. Today there's a reorientation of our calling as pastors that's taking place. And it's interesting, I think what we are taught by our denominations and through the seminaries that we attend is that the primary calling we have is to our local congregation. But the change that's happening today is from seeing the church as my parish to seeing the city as our parish. And there's two changes taking place. It's from the church to the city, and it's from my calling to our calling as we serve our parish, the city. My own background, like you, I'm a practitioner. And I mentioned before, I just tell you briefly that I came to Christ at age 17 as a result of Christians working together in Pittsburgh to make Pittsburgh more famous for God than it was for steel. And they drew a 150-mile radius around Pittsburgh. And after doing so, what they discovered, or what they decided was that they would try to plant a Young Life club on every high school campus within that radius. I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, and Pittsburgh's radius included all of Cleveland and its western suburbs. And I was brought to Christ through the 4 spiritual laws that someone shared out there, and the Young Life leaders discipled me in this notion that the church can do far more together than any congregation can do simply on its own. And from that moment forward, I've been committed as a kingdom Christian, someone who wants to think carefully about how we mobilize the whole church to take the whole gospel to the whole city. And when we think about the whole church, one of my friends likes to say, the whole church doesn't include everybody, but it can't exclude anybody. Yet somehow I think at times we've acted in very exclusive ways as different parts of the church have excluded one another. And so what we've begun to do, I think, is, at least at Good Cities and in my time with Mission America, is we began to look for leaders in cities who were wanting to work with others as a fulfillment of Jesus' prayer in John 17, where he prayed that we'd all be one, even as he and the Father are one, in order that the world might know that Jesus was sent by the Father. And so I appreciate the fact that many of you who are on this call today want to reach your community. I hope that you have a kingdom outlook, and that you're going to be engaging with others in the church in all its richness, its ethnic and racial and generational and gender diversity, and that you'll take on that holy burden of being an answer to Jesus' high priestly prayer